Smart marketers test things, and they have the ability to understand where things are wrong, what's going wrong, and how to fix them. So that's what we're going to talk about next. We want to create a journey. We have a place to start and a place to finish. And what happens after that? We really don't want people to just finish being on our list, right? We want to keep them forever. How do we do that? What are those paths and how do they go back in to start another one? So having that journey will really help you define what the messaging needs to be along the way. The emails along this journey are considered touch points. These are your opportunities to say, hey, how are you? I brought something for you. And what we want to be able to do is understand if they're getting value and they're engaging back to say, thank you. One of the best tips that I can give you if you are mapping out a customer journey is either write it out on paper, which I love notebooks. I'm still kind of old school like that. I'm a visual person, so that really helps me. You can also use something like Google Slides to just create a flow map of where people will go, how they'll get there, and what happens if they don't move forward from a certain point. So maybe they stem off into another branch, kind of like a tree, right? Or roots of sequences and funnels that'll help them lead them back to a goal. And then you can label them along the way as to what their intent is. Okay, this is what it would look like. You'd have a place to start, so this is where your source of traffic would come from, right? And then they would be served or offered your opt-in. So wherever that is, maybe it's a waiting list and you're just collecting people before you actually get started. Or perhaps you're sending them straight over to a landing page where they would register for something like your masterclass, your webinar, or maybe it is your lead magnet. So either way it goes, they would have some sort of confirmation, right? And this is the experience that they would have until they reach their goal. So this is for a webinar. Maybe they have a guide that kicks off after they have been, they've arrived at the webinar. So maybe they clicked from the email that they received, whatever it is. They watch the webinar and then it would decide did they enroll in your program, they didn't enroll, or they did not even attend. And so this is where you would segment your list off so that you can market to them directly instead of just kind of having a one size fits all. It doesn't work that way. And this is why you have to pay attention to what their journey is, what their experience is, so that you can speak directly to them and meet them where they are. This can be really overwhelming for a lot of people, mainly because they've made it into something that's bigger than it really needs to be. This is just conversation. Keep it conversational, keep it simple, and keep it human. Building trust with people, especially online when you've never met them, sometimes can be kind of hard. Unless you are a significant authority within your niche, then it's a little difficult for people to just trust you right off the bat. That's why it's really important that you follow up with everything that you say and don't say it unless you mean it. So maybe you start off with something like we do. We start off with more tools. That person then starts to get used to the idea that every time we send them something, it's of value. They like getting emails from us because they're tools and they're good tools and they will help them reach their goal. So that know, like, and trust factor is already pretty strong once they've opted in with us, because what we've told them is not only are we going to deliver on our promise, we're going to go above and beyond that. And that's pretty cool. There are some people who go directly into sales mode from the opt-in. And that's okay. There's a lot of different strategies, and it's important that you know that there are a lot of different strategies because it really depends on your audience and it depends on your business model. So if people are attracted to you and you're a real go-getter, hustler type of mentality, then it's probably going to be okay to assume that everything that you do and you send to them is going to be kind of a go get it now, start now, do it now, take action. But if you're someone that is really into building relationships, and this is something that is a little bit more intimate, then we're going to need to include some other things inside of your email journey that would help to better build that relationship and build that like, know, and trust factor. Sometimes people opt into things where they don't really know the person. They just want the value of the tool that they were offering, and they don't want to have anything to do with them past that point. That happens all the time. When that happens, you want to make sure that they understand that they have to choose to stay on this list. That way you know going forward that all the people who you are sending emails to want to be there and want to get the value from you. As always, you've got to put the unsubscribe option at the bottom of every one of your emails or you can get in trouble. Again, if you don't follow the rules, you might as well just make a flow map that looks like start straight into the spam box, because you're not going to get in someone's inbox if you're not following the rules. There's literally laws for this. So how do you know if you're doing it right? How do you know if you're doing it wrong? I'd say it really just depends on the goal and the type of email marketing that you are initiating. Some have higher open rates than others, and that's okay. That's to be expected. The farther that they go down the customer journey, the more segmented your list should be, depending on their behavior. But how do you know how to segment them or how to test like the health of your email list? If you're using a program like Kartra, which is my favorite tool, this makes it really easy because you can just set up triggers based off of any of the variables that are included in your email. For instance, if they open, if they didn't open, if they opened and clicked, if they opened and did not click, if they opened within the first 24 hours or within the first week, if they opened after the first 24 hours. There's a lot of different choices that you can have depending on the email client that you use. I like to place things inside of the email that will also prompt engagement. This just gives me another trigger to put as a part of my analytics so that I understand how they're behaving and what it is that they're attracted to, what's working to be able to deliver that value to them, which is really important. So if you have effective variables to measure inside of your email sequences, then this will just give you more data. You need data in order to make tweaks or to be able to better understand your audience, which leads me to my last point, which is like the triage and wellness check of your email list. You're gonna need that data to be able to understand what a healthy open rate is, what your open rate is, if people are clicking or not, what they're clicking on, a button, a hyperlink, a photo, or an image. Maybe they're motivated by watching a video versus going to read the blog about it. Those are things that you can tell when you put variables inside of your emails that you send them. So in order to be able to fix them or check them or repair something that may not be working effectively, then you have to be able to know how to interpret the data. So let's take a look at just a few things that would be really important for you to just always take note of to check the health of your email list. First up would be your open rate. So if they don't fit in the view while they're scrolling, probably not going to open it. If nobody opens it, what's the point? So I've got a few tips to help you out.